Hey, the Fed's just lowered rates. So what's that mean to you and your money? I'm going to be revealing several stocks and ETFs that have a chance to skyrocket with this major market shift. So stick around. We're going to be showing you those stocks and ETFs. Let's go right now. Okay, guys, before we get over to the charts to take a look what's going on there, I want to remind everybody that when the Fed reduces rates or even raises rates, it typically takes about 2 to 3 days for the institutions to digest what the Fed has to say before they can pick a direction that they want the market to go. So what do we do as retail investors? Well, we kind of sit and wait until price action reveals which way it's going to go. I find it kind of interesting that Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan today came out and also said when the Fed lowers or raises rate, it really doesn't matter. It's a minor thing. He went on to explain that underneath all of what the Fed is doing is the real economy. Is the real economy strengthening or is it weakening? I think depending on who you ask, you'll get different answers regardless. One thing that is for sure is that typically when the Fed starts lowering rates, there is always the threat of going into a recession. Now, how deep or how bad the recession, we don't know at this time. But, what does Dimon know that we don't know? You can check out this article over on Yahoo Finance to talk about that. So what is the first stock that we're going to take a look at? Well, it's not a stock at all. I'm going to take a look first at TQQQ. And TQQ, as we can see, sellers came in. We bounced up after the Fed decision, and now we are dropping down. Held the 8-day moving average. That's positive. However, if we get a continued sell-off, I would look for prices to potentially drop all the way back down to approximately the $61 level on TQQQ. Remember, when you're looking at the leverage ETFs, to also double-check the technicals on the non-leverage ETFs. In other words, that would be like QQQ, because it may give you a different picture. If you want a more accurate picture of the technicals, always take a look at the non-leverage ETF, and we'll see if we can bop that up there. Activate that. There we go. And as you can see, it's holding the 8-day moving average. Very much similar. What I found is TQQ and QQQ tend to run pretty close to each other. The other entity I will be taking a look at a little bit later is TNA, because it is a leverage ETF of the Russell. It may, because typically when the rates start to fall, the small caps start to rally. We'll see if we get that rally into there. But there's a couple of stocks I want to take a look at first, and the first one is, in order of importance, we'll get these out really quickly. NVDA. NVDA is a stock that I think we need to be looking at finding places to buy NVDA. As you can see, we put in a, see if I can zero in on this. We put in a higher low right here. Yeah, we put in a higher low, as you can see right there. And price actions, my drawing tool isn't working. So higher low right here, lower high right here. So we're kind of working within a triangle. And so you can actually draw a trend line along this upper level now. And let that just be one huge pennant, especially when you see it over here on the weekly chart. There you go. I'm going to get rid of this one here. Give you an idea of what we're looking at. Now, price action bounce back and forth between those levels, and we'll see what transpires from there. Hold on just a second. I'm going to try to get my... Yeah, it looks like the drawing tool just doesn't want to work. Anyway, and oh, by the way, remember, I am up in Boise, Meridian, Idaho, visiting my grandkids and Brandon and his wife. And so I'm not in my studio, and so my ability to do my broadcasts are a little bit hampered, but I hope you still take a look at these individual stocks and leverage ETFs. So the other aspect of this is, if I'm going to be trading NVDA, I may want to take a look at the 2-time leveraged ETF of NVDA, which is NVDL. Very similar type patterns, doing the same thing, drawing the same lines, and watch to see if we start to break out. I'm anticipating that if with lower interest rate, that could benefit some of the tech stocks, including NVDA. The next one that is right in line behind this, I think, is maybe more attractive, and it's ARM. ARM, similar type situation. We pulled back into the 8-day moving average. You can see where the sellers came in today. Now, are we going to hold? Oftentimes, when you see these large levels of our multi-level of moving averages, such as we have here, we have the 8, we have the 20, the 50, and we have the 34, and the 20-day would be in there if I followed the 20-day moving average, which I do not. And so it's finding support, may bounce from here. This is one of those entities that I think has the opportunity to move all the way back up to the upside. If it does, that will give you a price or a move. I'm just going to take it from the 8-day moving average on up to these past highs, which is there. And that gives us about a 37% move, potentially by the end of the year, if not better. So that's one of the other things that I'll be keeping my eye on ARM. Do I buy ARM off the 50-day moving average, or do I buy ARM bouncing and breaking out of 143.23? I actually had an order in to buy ARM today. However, I didn't close in the middle third of this, what was a big green candle, almost a bullish engulfing almost. And so because it didn't close in the top third, my conditional order never fired. Next up. And oh, by the way, if you enjoy getting these particular stock evaluations and analysis, just remember to hit the subscribe button and tell your friends about AutoPilot Trading and also the Market Tech Talk. Been doing this for about 30 years, and so yeah, I've seen the market ups and downs in the market, and we do really well in our with our system, beating the S&P for over 13 years. So what do we have doing with Tesla? Is Tesla a buy? Well, what are the positives? We're above the 8-day moving average. We're above the 50-day moving average, and we are basically still in this nice little uptrend. Downside on Tesla is crappy volume, very low. That means no traction in here. And so I'll be keeping my eye on that. I would like it probably down somewhere at the uptrend line or the 50-day moving average, somewhere in those areas there to potentially take a buy on Tesla. The other thing I like about Tesla, as I did with NVDA, is Tesla has a leverage ETF. It's a 2-time leverage ETF that has excellent weekly options, and also, but it's running about $10.62. We break out above this high here, we're probably off to the races up to about $16. And so I'll give you a number on that. That would be a move of, nice little move, about, let's say 45%. And if we go on up to the other highs, well, we're pushing on up towards 70 to 80%, which could happen before the end of the year also. So that's what we've got with the individual stocks. Oh, wait a second. I've got one more I'm going to share with you. And this is going to be a shocker. You're going to go, are you kidding me? Google. Why do I want to potentially start easing into Google? The main reason I want to start easing into Google is because why is Google down so much? Well, Google's getting hammered because the DOJ, our favorite DOJ, they're so... There we go. DOJ basically has gone after Google for antitrust, Sherman Act type of activities, in that the monopolistic, trying to not have competition against it. And what has happened in the past, because the DOJ, yeah, they may have a big bark, but and they do. I mean, they can come after you and just rip your face off. But at the same time, a lot of time on these larger companies, they basically, put out the notice that, we're going after you. But then it turns out to be a nothing burger like it did with Microsoft so many years ago. And after the DOJ has basically, it's all blown over, then that stock starts to head on up. What are we looking at here with Google? Well, Google, nice flag down. We also have a really interesting, I wish my drawing tool was working, but we have a very interesting, and I'll show it with the arrow here. Here's a shoulder, here's a head. We may put in another shoulder down here and then break out and move higher. So Google. But wait, there is more. GGL is Google's 2-time leverage ETF, and it looks really excellent. Also, Google itself doesn't move that much, but this move here from March of this year up to the highs, well, that ran about 74%, where Google itself ran on only 40%. And so I like GGL. It trades just basically almost just like Google, but you have a little more bang for your buck having a 2-time leverage ETF. As I said earlier, with the leverage, with the Fed reducing the rates, take a look at TNA. TNA, the leverage ETF, 3-time leverage ETF of the Russell. Check it out, okay? Today's candlestick turns out to be a very bearish candlestick, in fact. And so it is the sellers came in up here after it had done a fake breakout and pushed it all the way back down. So I have a shooting star that follows another shooting star, and this is an outside day. The thing about bearish or even bullish candlestick reversal signals, they tell you where, but they don't, where a reversal is likely to happen, high probability of reversal, but it doesn't tell us how much. We have to use our other technicals for how much could it drop. And that's where we start evaluating the levels of support, which in this particular case, we have support right here at the 50-day moving average, the 8-day moving average, and all the way down here at the 200-day moving average. Take a look at what you have going on over on the weekly chart. Look for, is it going to hold the 8, which is right here at the about $41 level? That's why I'll put in my alert about the $41 level for a potential trade on TNA. TNA also, if you are an option trader, gives you some really great potential trading options with it because it does have weekly options. And so if you found today's session helpful, again, I apologize for not being able to, put a little picture of me down in the corner, but heavens, you don't need to see me, because what's important is what's on the chart. And that's what's important. And so like I said, if you found this beneficial, there'll be a video pop up in the corner, in the left-hand corner of this video, and you can take a look at that and leave a note. Which one of these stocks are you going to be jumping on in the next couple of weeks? Aloha and God bless everybody.